Hey, again, Veronica and Eric.
Mama, he's got his arms out. Mama, here we are again.
I'd love to have one of those Eric hugs.
Oh.
Okay, well, then today we're going to talk about, and we've talked about it before, but it's been so long ago, and it's a very short video, but numerology. I always find it fascinating. I mean, why numbers? How can that make any sense? Is the well? I guess when you consider sacred geometry, etc., are we just one giant big mathematical equation? Is that what the universe is all about? Is that what emotions are all about, etc.? But anyway, go for it.
So the easy answer is everything is energy. Everything has a vibrational force to it. Everything has meaning to it, and numbers are no different. So when numbers were created, if you will, he's using the word created for us.
They were created? Go ahead.
When they were devised.
Okay.
Or made, here he's saying, brought to man's consciousness.
Oh, interesting.
When numbers were brought to man's consciousness, it was already set, and he's saying in stone, that each number would have its own vibrational frequency.
Wow.
Almost he's saying, like he's showing us like a musical note. Like we look at musical notes, he's saying, and every note has its own energy, its own vibration, so that it can make its own unique sound.
Okay.
And the same is true for numbers.
Wow. So they weren't man-made then. How were numbers created? Or were they always around?
Yes, the easiest way is he's saying it appeared in your consciousness, because rather than go back and explore the whole, where did it come from? How did it get there? He's saying that it would just serve you best to know that when they appeared in your consciousness. Now, it could go back to, Babylon and the Greeks and hieroglyphics and all of that. But when they appeared in your consciousness, and he's saying numerology is probably the science of it. He's calling it the science of it, is probably over 3,500 years old.
Wow.
It's a very old science. And he's also saying it's a very mysterious science because there's a lot of speculation around it. Now,
can you elaborate?
Yeah. You will get 4 different people who work with numbers, and they will give you 4 different interpretations, not of the numbers necessarily, but of how to work with the numbers. And these people that work with numbers obviously are numerologists. And what's interesting, and this I think goes back to, we talk about the numerology. Psychology is the study of thought. Ontology, we learned, is the study of being. And numerology is the study of numbers. And so people have studied numbers over the course of the years. And he's saying it's very simple for the average person. He said the average person who let me say isn't a numerologist.
Yeah, okay.
To understand how to work with their own numbers. Now, he's also saying what's fascinating is our numerology, our makeup, our numbers, and he'll explain where they come from, is the blueprint to our soul.
Wow.
So think about this. He's saying you come in with a contract. You write the contract out with the creator. It's a co-creative process. And so now we come to Earth and we have amnesia. We have spiritual amnesia. He's like, you don't remember, okay? And so if you are of the mindset and open to find numerology, you will now have the key, the blueprint, to unlock pieces of your soul contract. That's the real reason for numerology.
That is so cool. So you say you had different interpretations. You get the same numbers, and different numerologists can give different. I feel hear an echo. I hope you don't. But hear have a different interpretation. So how does that work?
Well, he's saying there's different schools of he's saying professional academies, if you will. I use the word school, but he's saying professional learning academies for numerology. There's let's say there's the Pythagoras Pythagoras
Okay.
was somebody who was very prominent with numbers. There's the Kabbalah,
Okay.
which also is the ancient mystic, has to do with numbers. Depending on the era. Here it is. He's saying part of this has to do with like whisper down the alley. So over the course of time, let's just say Pythagoras found some sort of formula for numbers, which she's saying he did. And he wrote it out like this. And then decades went by and somebody interpreted it like this. He's saying it gets a little bit more watered down with each version.
It's like operator.
Yes.
Passive phrase down is totally different from the time you get to the end.
And really,
what's the right thought?
Well, again, he's saying you will know what works for you because you'll feel it at a soul level. Here's the thing. He's saying you can't get it wrong. It's not going to be wrong. You're not going to get somebody that does the Kabbalah form and somebody that does the Pythagoras form and it's wrong. Okay. You're not going to get that. It's just going to be, you might get a slight variation, because he's saying to me, everything boils down to a single digit. Our whole life boils down to a single digit. So if you have the number 14, he's showing me, a 14 is a 1 and a 4. A 1 vibrates at a very different energy than a 4. The negative numbers are male energy and the positive numbers are female energy.
There's negative numbers too in numerology? Oh, I had no idea.
Yep. So 14 is a 1 and a 4. They come together and he's saying they have a baby that's a 5.
Okay. Let's talk to Kiki about numerology, okay?
Yeah. They come together. Okay. And so he wants to give some really cool ways for people to get to know themselves using this basic technique. Would that be all right now to do, or do you want to ask that question?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. So he's saying, look at the prominent numbers around you. Either your phone number, your house number, the number of kids you have, whatever number that you're drawn to, he's saying you can look at that number and it can tell you something about yourself. So here's how you figure it out. So an A is a 1, a B is a 2, a C is a 3, a D is a 4, and so on and so on and so on. And when you get to 9, you start back over again at 1, 2, 3.
There's no zero? What about 0? No 0?
He's not talking about the 0. He's saying 1 through 9.
Okay.
So he wants to remember. So a 1 is an A is a 1.
You froze.
Each letter of the alphabet
is a number.
Corresponds to a number.
Okay.
So an A is a 1, a B is a 2. So if you wanted to take your name, you would do E. So it would be A, B, C, D, E. That would be a 5. So if we wanted to just take your first name, he's saying, Mom, I'm going to play with you for a minute.
Oh, boy.
We're going to take your first name, and we have the letter E, and that equals the number 5. So what we know about you with the number 5, you can have... All right, wait a minute. This is hysterical. All right. You can become, you are very OCD.
Oh, yeah.
Because of but you're also can be all over the place. You've got multiple balls in the air. You're going like this, you're going like this, but at the end of the day, it will get done.
Yeah, I get shit done. I'm telling you, if it's on my list, it's done.
He said
if there's exercise or something on there like that, then maybe I won't.
He says you get her done, he's saying. And the other thing about the E's can have, E's 5s can have addictive personalities. So not necessarily to substance, but you could be addicted to power, control, love, any kind of addiction. The E is the E of the 5 is a very dynamic person. Hey, he's saying he's an E, very dynamic, very charismatic.
Yeah.
So, what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, I'd like to give a free chart. We'll post a chart for people underneath the video for them to see what letter corresponds
And you do that for people too, right?
I do. I do numerology reports. Yes, I do.
That's awesome.
They get a very detailed report, but and I like to use full disclosure because I'm completely honest and truthful.
Yes,
I
you are.
purchased a very high-end, very expensive proprietary program where I plug in your information and it gives me like a 50, 60 page report. But I am combing through every piece of that report, validating it and hand checking it. So I like transparency. And no, I'm not sitting here calculating this 60 page report. So I have to say that.
Well,
I have
that's
to
pretty cool, though. Wow.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Oh.
And Eric is saying, again, the emphasis is on it's the blueprint to the soul.
Yeah.
So if you keep attracting people in your life, he says, that don't make sense, he said, no, they do make sense. You just don't understand why they make sense.
Oh, wow. So what kind of things do you find out from this 56, 60-page report?
You can find out your destiny,
Mm-hmm.
what your destiny is. You can find out what's truly in your heart's desire. One of the things that blows my mind with this report, you can see cycles of energy at various ages of your life.
Oh.
And you can see challenges that you're born with. So for me, one of my challenges is organization.
Okay.
Go figure. I'm like, all over the place. Right, Eric? But it also gives you the insight so that you can now work with a numerologist, me or whomever, to help put the steps in place so that you can take that to the positive level. Wow. And turn it around for yourself. It blows your mind. So, Elisa, this is, I want to give you a numerology report. I want to do yours.
Oh, I can post it.
Yeah, I want to do yours.
So that'd be so cool.
Get that information. And we can also do Eric's. So
yeah,
that'd be cool. Okay.
That'd be cool. And they could post it when we post this thing or have it as a separate deal. That's awesome. So really a numerology report, that could probably help somebody's life coach too.
Absolutely. And I do spiritual coaching, and I always.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's called soul to soul coaching. And when you work with me in a soul to soul coaching, I give you the numerology report because I want you to know all pieces of yourself. And Eric is saying this tool will take you deeper than you've ever gone.
Everybody ought to do it, really.
Yeah. He's saying it's just an incredible tool. And the other thing is, I'm going to post the chart, he said, and he wants each one of you to look at the chart, the alphabetical chart, and the corresponding number. And he's going to post. You mean I'm going to post?
Yeah, really.
I'm going to post, with your permission, the outline of what each number means. So if you are a 1, an A, you are prone and accept new beginnings with ease.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Struggle for independency. So let's do that for all the people watching. Let's help them get on their way.
That'd be so cool. Okay. What about a Z?
Yeah.
What about a Z?
Like
Zoe.
Oh, you broke up.
What about somebody that starts with a Z, like Zoe?
So we'd have to calculate what that is. I don't have my little chart.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
What number does that come out to? Like, if you're a 9, okay, 9 is a very spiritual number, but 9 is also an ending. We live our life and he's saying, this is funny because we live our life in 9-year cycles. Every 9 years, we shed our skin. And every 9 years, we take on a new energy.
Wow.
Right? Like, he's like, how is that? That's pretty cool. He's like really proud of himself today.
Wow. Okay. He should be. All right. So look at the 27 Club. All these young celebrities that died at the age of 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. So
it's an ending.
It's an ending.
Yep. Now a 2 and a 7. So the 2, these are very sensitive people who take things really to heart. They feel things about other people. And the 7 is indicative of a very spiritual existence, whether it's been revealed or not. So there's a lot going on with the number 27. A lot of energy.
So how does it tie into sacred geometry? Or does it? Because that's sort of...
He's saying it's a very separate thing. So,
okay.
Yeah. it's very separate thing. And he's saying he's saying don't muddy the waters right now, because it might, if you bite off more than you can chew, people will be confused.
That's totally true.
Including probably me, the messenger.
Well, okay, how does one find their own single digit? Is it always just the first letter, or do they get their name and their birth date and all that stuff?
Well, yes, for the full numerology, you get the birth date, he said, because they're numbers, but every number boils down to a letter. So an E is a 5, A is a 1, B is a 2, C is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It all has, and then when it gets to 9, it starts over. And again, as a visual, we'll post the chart so that people can see what we're talking about, because he's counting out loud in his head. But, you know, for me to sit here and say it, people might get twisted up in it because it's confusing.
Okay, so basically you need somebody's name of birth.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's a good point. There's two different energies that could happen for a woman. She has her birth name, and she has the name that she goes by every day. So if the name you go by, like I have a birth name, and my name I go by is Veronica Drake. Right. So there's not much discrepancy in the two, but there are little pieces of information that might not be picked up in one or the other. So I like to do the comparison of both names. And the date of birth is significant. Also, Eric is saying to us, it was known when you were going to be birthed, and it was known the name you were going to have.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be, he said, because how do you think you get the blueprint?
Yeah. I've heard that people choose their name, and I believe that because Christina, my youngest, it took us like 3 days to figure out what to name her. And finally, there was like a bottle of Christian Brothers champagne next to my bed, so I thought, okay, Christina. But still to this day, as a child, she said, it took so long to make decisions. Now,
thank God it wasn't chocolate milk.
I know. That is funny. So, what about if like my sister Terry, her first name, birth name is Maria Teresa, but she hated it. So very early on, she renamed herself Terry, Teri. So which one do you use?
We would go with Maria, the first given name, and then we would put it in. There's a second spot to calculate Terry.
Oh.
We would calculate Terry, and we would see, here's the thing he's saying. All of these numbers make up one person. So you're just bringing in pieces of energy off of numbers, but they're all the same person. So you might get a little bit different from day.
Say that again because you froze.
Oh, am I there?
Yeah, you might get a little bit different what?
You might get a little bit different information if you just calculated Terry and birth name. But at the end of the day, you won't know it because it all comes together to be the energy that we know as Terry.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Anything else about numerology?
He's saying that numbers are a great way to develop your own intuition. So in other words, if you meet somebody new, he's saying, and you're not sure what to know about them or what you do know about them, trust your gut feeling. But if you're not real good at that, take the first letter of their first name, find the number it corresponds to, look at the chart of what that means, and you'll get a little bit of information into the person.
Well, that's a good idea. And if you're hiring somebody too, or if you get a new job and you check it out, you can check out the boss.
So if you're looking to move, and you want to know the house number is, let's say the house number is 431. So 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 1 is 8. Now it balances down to an 8. And so what does an 8 tell you? Well, an 8 tells you that it's going to be a very prosperous purchase, and it could mean that the sale will be good when you go to resell it. It also is a number that is indicative of balance. And so this could be a very balanced place to live. So there's a lot to know from numbers.
What is science and an art, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's like, this is why minds have to be expanded, because there's so much more than just what we know day to day.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, I'm excited that you do that. That is so cool. You guys get your numerology report from Veronica at www.veronicadrake.com. It's easy to find on your website, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. It's on the header, Numerology Report. And if you want a reading with me, they're angel readings. And Eric is always with me on those readings and the angels. And we've done some amazing work together. So
he just won't leave you alone, will he?
You know what? He's in my hip pocket. He hates when I say that.
Oh, that's funny. Eric, anything else you want to share about numerology?
He just wants everybody to know that anything is possible. Yeah. And that if it's written, it shall be.
Oh, that's awesome.
There you go.
All right. Well, I think we'll end off here. The whole Skype thing is getting kind of fuzzy anyway. So thank you very much, Veronica. Thank you, Eric. I love you both. And again, I will put her website on this video. So check it out. Thank you.
All right. Bye, Mama.
Bye. Thank you, Veronica.
Prepara.